Alright, Hari Om, coming back to you live with the continuation of our class on chapter 2, a verse by verse review of Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, and we have to pick up now from verse 11. So let us chant verse 11 of Bhagavad Gita and we'll see what Bhagavan has in store for us today. So, where we left it off, Arjuna, in the middle of the battlefield, with tears in his eyes, full of sorrow and grief, had finally caught a little bit of sense by the time chapter 2, verse 7 and 8 has come along, right? And he looks a little bit inward. And thus, he catches a little bit of sense enough to admit and reveal to Bhagavan that the shouting and electric shock that Bhagavan gave earlier in the beginning of the chapter had reverberated through him. And he also sees now, as he himself admits, Karpanya dosha upahata svabhavaha, that he is not his original, authentic self in this moment. That, as Bhagavan said, na upapadyate, this is not befitting of him, all this tears on the battlefield. And his natural tendency to stand up for dharma as a kshatriya has been stolen away by some defect in his heart, which he himself is naming as a miserliness, as a, if you want to extend that, selfishness, narrow-mindedness. That has come and just usurped and taken over his heart. And he does not know what is the best thing to do for himself and for society. Dharma samurha chetaha, he admits in his heart. He asks Bhagavan, Yat cheya syat nishchitam bruhitan. You tell me, please, Bhagavan, clearly, decidedly, what is the right thing to do. Shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. Prapannam, I surrender to you. I am now your disciple. I have taken up a new identity here on the battlefield of a disciple. Because, and he retells in the next verse, I don't see any way that this sorrow, which has dried up all my vitality in life, to fight, to live also, is ever going to be removed. Even if you put in front of me, life puts in front of me, kingdom, unrivaled kingdom of the universe also, in Swarga, you put all of that in front of me, and I don't have any vitality, and more than that, I'm burning in this sorrow. the thought of the loss of my people on the other side of the battlefield, this has brought me to my knees. And all of his accolades and all of Arjuna's capacity to fight, being himself a well-proven hero among men, it's not doing him any good in the face of the loss towards his people. And this dilemma is one that we all have, continue, and will face in life. This is called the Arjuna disease. It is characterized by relying only on the outer world and changing the makeup of things of the situations, the people, the things in my life. A life lived like that eventually brings us to our knees. Because finally, ignoring what is going on inside, we face a situation where we're helpless. Arjuna is helpless. If he fights, well, so many things will come to him. If he fights, he feels that he will be the cause of the destruction of all the people on both sides. First and foremost, he will lose Bhishma and Dronacharya. Then he can't imagine living thereafter in the world without them. If he doesn't fight and he runs, well, Bhagavan has already told him, that is not going to take you to Swarga. Means it is not a meritorious action. It is not preferred by noble people. It is weak and low-hearted to look past the welfare of everybody who you're in a position to help and run away. He can't run, he can't fight. From all points of view, his sorrow cannot be removed. And Bhagavan set the situation up such that Arjuna would ask this question. So Bhagavan was happy. And we saw that various reasons why Bhagavan is happy. Now he gets to tell Arjuna, and over his shoulders, using this situation and Arjuna and this question and his surrendering, using all of that as a medium, as a nimitta, using Arjuna as a medium to teach all of humanity about this human problem of sorrow and how to remove it. So this is what is going on here. Then he admits to Bhagavan that he becomes quiet and says, I will not fight. You just surrendered to Bhagavan. Now you're saying you won't fight. Because what Bhagavan already told you in the second verse, to stand up and fight. Uttishta. And tyaktva, cast off all this weakness of heart. So, what type of surrender is that? I mean, it means Arjuna is saying he's seeking a change, a transformation inside. He's seeking to regain his swabhava that was lost. He's seeking for clarity on what is the right thing to do. And he's willing. That's why he said, tell me very clearly what the action is to be taken. He's willing to act on it. Arjuna is a fit seeker who is looking for an inner transformation. He's not looking for Bhagavan to bless him and touch him and do some kind of maya and magic. He wants the inner transformation. And that is exactly what we need also to face sorrow. We don't need a change in the circumstances, and we don't need any help from Bhagavan besides a transformation inside, which is to be done through a teaching. Means to say, through wisdom. Arjuna is asking for the vision of the world that Bhagavan has. Because from Bhagavan's point of view, Arjuna should let loose arrows on the wicked side. Let it loose. Doesn't matter if it's my own people on the other side. How does Bhagavan see that? And from where I stand, I only see destruction and sorrow. Bhagavan is not pushing Arjuna into violence. Please, this also must be noted. Bhagavan is pushing Arjuna to face his own hang-ups and limitations, which, when are removed, will bring back his natural swabhav, which is to stand up for what is righteous. In our own case, that will mean remove our hang-ups and inhibitions, which will reveal our own inner tiger or lion or divine potential within to stand up and do our own work. And if that is to stand up and teach, or that is to stand up and serve, or that is to stand up and clean, whatever our work might be in life, to stand up and do that out of joy. So Bhagavan is capable of doing it. He's also on the battlefield. He is leading Arjuna into the battle. So from his vision, he can fight this battle. But from Arjuna's vision, he cannot. So Arjuna needs a transformation in his way of looking at the world, way of looking at himself, way of looking at circumstances. And that is what he's asking for. So now, to begin, whenever there is a topic sentence, we study in school now, the very first thing that is written, the main theme is given up front. When you write an email, it is very important that the subject line of the email be concise and to the point, and communicate if it's urgent, not urgent, a joke or whatnot. Bhagavan, being the perfect teacher, he gives the statement that at once gives a declaration of everything he's going to teach, reveals to Arjuna his folly, gives guidance as a motto in life. Man, he packs in the best all in one statement. He captures the whole problem and the solution. Now, this is a sign of a great teacher, of a master. You come with a long whole paragraph and essay and all that about some problems in life and society, and in one line it cuts straight to the point. And if you remember that one line, well, it will serve as a compass for life. So that is how Bhagavan opens the batting here in chapter 2. I don't know if he's bowling or he's batting. You can go on and imagine. Is Arjuna batting? I don't know. That is for you to imagine. But this is how he opens, with such a statement. And to help appreciate the significance, we can think a little bit about the types of approaches to the human problem, wherever it might be, that we have. There is always a possibility to solve any problem in multiple ways. Basically, you could solve a problem with a quick fix. Anything can be solved with a quick fix, a quick patch, a quick replacement, a quick, you just get a quick foreign part and put it there, not the original part. It will work for some time, and then either it will go, it will cause some other problem, but at least it works, right? So that is one type of solution. And we know of many such things, right? ChatGPT and AI is being used for that. Now, if I am not qualified, well, I quickly ask someone else to do the job for me and I present it as mine. That will eventually cause another big problem when I don't have that with me and I'm called to do on my own. And like that, so many things we have. Many people just use sleep. Life is too difficult. Go to sleep. It works for a little time. And then, tomorrow morning the problems are doubled. And many such quick fixes we have. Tylenol for life. Right? then there are fundamental solutions. To apply a fundamental solution, you have to know the fundamental cause. And everybody really at the end of the day wants, needs, values fundamental thing. Now in this part of the world, North America, Caribbean and all that, the big topic is criminality related to drugs, right? And everybody wants to see that problem solved at a fundamental level. A quick fix is to hire more police force, enforcement force, right? But that does not affect the demand for drugs. That does not affect human greed. That does not affect the human criminal tendency to take advantage of others. So if those things are not solved, that problem will never be solved. See, for example, where are all those tendencies engendered? What is the cause for a criminal tendency in the human heart, which would entice me into a life of drug making or drug selling or drug pushing or taking bribe and all that? Well, all of that is engendered in the home. Neglect of child rearing and proper parenting and understanding of my duty is what engenders criminal tendencies. We know as a human society that you don't produce, the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. That the heart of the child can be groomed in such a way that they turn out to be boon society or not. Great influence is to be had at that stage. If any society pays less attention to that stage of life, and thus neglecting children in the home, more are given to criminality, and then so they grow up, and then those very people are the ones who can choose all the professions, including being the enforcement police officer. Now, who will guard the guard, as they say? And that is a long I'm not talking about any country in particular, or this is a well-known, well-documented, many movies have been made over this whole thing. So this is just a look, standing back and looking at, well, sometimes the criminality goes all the way up to the top. How will you solve that problem? It has to be solved with a fundamental solution over years. And there are examples in society of both. Those who are working towards it and those who are not. Right. So just like how a big important thing like criminality can be solved with a fundamental solution in the home, so too the universal problem of sorrow in the human heart is being solved now by Bhagavan in these next few verses. Tremendous. And this is why Bhagavad Gita has been appreciated by poets and artists and thinkers and scientists and social engineers from all religions and across humanity. Just recently, the high courts in Bharat came out saying, well, this Bhagavad Gita is not a religious text. Although it is studied within Hinduism, it has to be looked at as a piece of, something offered to humanity, by humanity, for the welfare of humanity. See now the systematic and scientific approach Bhagavan takes to the human problem. Now, actually, let us take a moment and think about that, right? Let's see the word by word, and then we'll study. Ashochan anvashochastvam prajnavadamsha bhashase. This is Bhagavan's first statement, out the gates. Arjuna, you speak wise words. In that long, almost full chapter you gave me of talk about why we should not fight, why fighting and killing on the battlefield leads to degradation of society, and all that talk that you gave me. It is wise words. It means wise people do speak like that. But ashochan anvashochastvam. You grieve for those which you not should be grieved for. You're talking wise, but grieving for those who should not be grieved for. In simple language, you're talking smart, but you're acting like a fool. And just to make that clear, Bhagavan adds in the second two padas, Gatasum agatasumscha na anushochanti panditaha. Pandits means real wise people. According to Bhagavan Shri Krishna, this is the test. Who is a pandit? Real wise people. They don't grieve. Na anushochanti. They don't grieve. And he adds to that. For what? For gatasu, agatasum. For those who are gone, and those who are not yet gone, those who are going. Because we all fall into either category. Some are gone, and some are going. And the wise people doesn't grieve for either. And you can apply it to people, and you can apply it to things also. Some things, situation, times in life are gone, and others are going. Wise people don't worry about either. Grieve for either. So this is Bhagavan's statement to Arjuna. Oh, the first statement, let us see. There is a schism in Arjuna's personality, where part of his personality is, if you were just to read what he's saying, well, you'd say, wow, he's wise, without looking at any context, and without seeing his face. But if you look at his face and you study the context, and you study the words closely, you will see, no. He's foolish. And this sort of schism, where we say one thing, wise things, and do silly things, is a sign of ignorance in the personality. It is a sign that the source of sorrow is present. The schism in the personality. And let us think about all the different ways that this also happens to us. Because this is our way of relating to Arjuna. Now this, I should warn you, this is the opening verse. The verse is now from this verse to verse 30, right? Bhagavan is going to give the whole solution to the problem of sorrow, right? This verse 11 to verse 30. He's going to give Atmanya. Sometimes it is called in Bhagavad Gita Sankhya. That is what he's going to tell. If a person understands this part, there's no need to even study the rest of Bhagavad Gita. But Arjuna didn't understand, and we also don't understand. So we're grateful that Arjuna kept asking questions, and the Gita continues. But this essential portion here is the main, highest teaching, fundamental solution. After that, just to sketch out the rest of the chapter now, because Bhagavan's beginning, so we can sketch it out. From 31 to 38, Bhagavan will talk about dharma. It means how to act out this wisdom, or how to act in such a way that we can approach this wisdom. Then from 39 to 53, Bhagavan will talk about yoga. It means how we can live day to day such that we divinize our vision and move towards this wisdom. So first then wisdom, then the principles that act out in day-to-day life, then the down on the ground changes we can make in our life, and finally, Bhagavan will paint the picture of how a person who has reached this wisdom acts in the world. From 54 to the end of the chapter. So this is how the chapter will proceed. Right? Okay. Now, you speak words of wisdom, but you act like a foolish person. This characterizes much of our lives. You just have to see the young athlete. Suppose they have a sport called diving. You could take any sport. Take diving, for instance, because that's what I was thinking about. The diver who wants very badly to make a perfect dive, putting in a tremendous mental effort. You can see the steam coming from his head, how much he wants this, and how worried he is. Better not trip, he better not take enough steps, he better jump far enough from that platform. Have you seen they jump from that platform and they spit in the air and their head just misses it by a hair, and then they dive? So he's got all this in his mind. That person who has so much desire and want and worry and concern and planning and talking in his mind and all that, he is the one who is more likely to, just as he starts to walk on the diving board, he trips and falls over. And the other one, who doesn't mind if he fails, this is a practice round, he makes no mistake. See the schism. On one side of the personality, a strong desire is there. But when it comes to action, my personality cannot do the thing in the way that it should be done to get the result. So I want it very badly, but I can't do the thing in the way, means it has to be done with a calm mind, with presence of mind, but I cannot do that. I have two parts of my personality at war like that. Schism or not? Or, take another case. So that isn't just our own mind going on. Then many times when we talk, we don't simply practice what we preach. The human being is known for that. What do they say? He talks the talk, but does he walk the walk? So that's a common schism. See another way it happens. We look outside and see the faults of other people very well, but we don't see that we have any fault. So, this shows up in the mandir all the time. You go to the mandir, you look at other people. How can that person come to the mandir dressed like that? How can that person be talking while the pandit is talking? You know this fella? He borrowed the AV system and took it to his house for his birthday party. He doesn't know that this is a community place. This is not for your own use and all that. At least he should have paid something as rent to help the ashram. That man is talking like that. And at that man's house, he might have a few of the chairs for the mandir. And when that's brought up to him, he says, no, this is a community place and I'm part of the community, so I should benefit. We do not see our own faults, but we're ready to see the faults of other people. The classic example, this has happened to me. I was driving on the road and I honked and I told the man on this side, your door is open. No, I told him, your gas tank is open. You know the flap? The gas flap is open. Gas cover. And he said, oh, thank you. And he turned and said, and your door is open. My door is open, he told me. So I could see what's wrong with his vehicle, but I can't see what's wrong with my own. This schism is there in our personality because we don't see ourselves, know ourselves, pay attention to what is going on inside. We don't embrace, we don't allow, we avoid, we're afraid of. We don't voice even what our desires are. We're trying to fix ourselves, improve ourselves, without looking at whether we need to be fixed at all. So in total darkness over what is going on inside at all levels, we go on doing things outside, and that creates this schism. See, in Arjuna's case itself, he says, he's looking at the war and thinking, oh, aho bata mahat papam kartum vyavasita vayam. This came in chapter 1. Yad rajas sukalobena hantum swajanam udyataha. He's saying, oh, this whole war, it is going to be such a great papa if we do it. If we are prepared to kill our own people for kingdom, for greed for kingdom and wealth, man, we have fixed our mind to do bump. So he thinks war is terrible, and anybody who's fighting in the war is doing terrible. That's how he thinks. And with all that grand statement, talking ahimsa, he cannot see in his own heart, he's saying all of that because he's afraid. Arjuna has fought so many battles before, he never said this. The difference here is that when he fights, he will have to face Bhishma Pitamaha, Dronacharya, his own people. They'll be deaf on both sides, and he can't imagine a world without them. So he doesn't see that it's fear driving him. And thus, he cries and talks big talk about how war is terrible. Schism in his personality. So if the problem is caused because he's not, in his case, at the most basic surface level, he doesn't recognize, until he asks his question, that fear has taken him over. He doesn't recognize that. He will go on talking and trying to fix the world and looking like an utter fool. From the outside, to see a great warrior on the battlefield fall to his knees and start proclaiming about how war is terrible and not even notice that he's doing it because he's afraid of losing his own people. People from outside will look and see the schism, but he can't see. So this point that Bhagavan Sri Krishna opens with is part of the human condition. There must be a myriad of ways right now itself that we have that schism playing out in our life. We have to look for it. Do I know all the answers but cannot apply it in my life? Do I talk the talk but don't walk the walk? Are my actions opposed to my desires? And am I crying over all of this? This is the human condition. And on the opposite side, the wise person. Now see this point also. This is the first definition of a Pandit in Bhagavad Gita. So Pandit, like we said, Pandit Jasraj and all that, that has taken the meaning of someone who is, achieved a lot in their craft, can quote a lot of verses, that sort of thing. But according to Bhagavad Gita, overcoming sorrow through wisdom is the sign of a Pandit. So that is the ideal. But we are just like children claiming a great title because it gives us inspiration. But here the real test of a Pandit is laid out. Now, let us think a little bit about why. Why would we not grieve for those who have gone? Why would we not grieve at the thought of those who we love going? Why do Pandits not grieve? That has to be seen also. Now, Bhagavan will elaborate that. He doesn't elaborate in the first verse. He gives it's a pratika vachanam. It is a declarative statement. This is how it is, from which we can draw inspiration, remind ourselves of the goal, understand where we are, where we need to go, all that, right? Now, it opens on a serious note. We are talking about Gatasun. Gatasun means we are talking about life and death. This is a matter of life and death now. So it's a bit serious. We get a chance to reflect on the comings and goings of those in our own life and ourselves also. Many times when we think about those who have gone or those who might go, we leave ourselves out of it. But whenever we attend any funeral, besides thinking about the greatness of those who have passed, our thought should really be about, I'm next. They're gone already. And they're living happily in their next birth. I'm the one who's next. So the thought should come to me. But people don't think. So, let us think a little bit now about death. We feel that death is a very scary thing. From living ordinary life in North America, watching news, hearing stories, listening to songs, that is the impression you get. But for someone who's coming through Shastras, coming to satsang regularly, you realize one main message up front. Death is not such a serious thing. It is a light thing. It is a necessary part of life. And if you look impartially, actually, the world shows that. There are some people who cry when a man dies. But then there will be other people in the village who will say, man, finally, I've been waiting. I feel he's overdue. Bhagavan, Yamraj, you don't make mistakes, but I feel he's overdue.